It says I'm live. So, welcome from the crossroads of America. A talk show about guns, politics, or anything else that crosses my mind. We will answer questions from the audience, either in email or in the chat. You can email me at rickslifeasIseeit@gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. I have a Patreon page, PayPal, and all that other good stuff down in the info below. There we go. Let's see who was in the chat first. Who we got? Let me move back up. Jason Stewart was first. Then Guns and Barbecue. Then Jerry Parker. Then Kingpin. Then Mystic Guns. And so on. So, wait a little bit longer because I know YouTube, gets the notifications out late, or if at all. I don't get the only email notification I get now is to myself. It sends me an email notification that I've just gone live. But in the old days, everyone that I subscribe to, and I hit the bell icon with the thing to make sure, they used to send me an email every time somebody that I was subscribed to would go live. Now I don't get that, but my phone, my Android phone, will put a little symbol up in the top of my phone when somebody does that. That's the only notification I get nowadays. So, all right. Okay, while we're waiting for other people to come in, let's introduce the panel I have so far from the wilds of Ohio. And it's Jason Stewart.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the invite, Rick. It's always good to be here.
Yeah, I watched some old show. I think it was a rerun. Some old show the other day. I think it was in Ohio. Besides, in Ohio, the one with the grass man?
Yes, the grass people.
Yeah, and then but there was another one, something devil monkeys or some shit there. So anyway.
Oh, that was a new one for me. I haven't heard that one. But yeah, there's been a lot of Bigfoot sightings here over the years.
Yeah. Then we got from, I think it's Pennsylvania, isn't it? Guns and Barbecue?
It is.
There you go. All right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Then from the Peach State, we got Willed and Well Armed.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, Rick.
No problem. I was thinking about that. I mean, it's been over 20 years. Almost. No, it has been. Because I lived in Atlanta 95 to 2000. Well, actually, I left towards the end of 99 because I was in Maine in the year 2000. That was the year of they thought all computers were going to crash. What was it?
Y2K.
Yeah, the Y2K thing. And I remember that. I remember New Year's Eve. Somehow, they asked for volunteers, and I was chosen to be at the store to make sure all the computers were right at midnight. And I had to email the big boss that everything was all right at the store come midnight. I thought, Jesus Christ, this is when I work for the government, but all right, let's see. Midnight Range has joined us. I ain't seen him in a while, but he's big guy now, and he's big manager somewhere. He's lowered himself to come in to see us down here. Yeah. And Patriot in the Dark's out there in the chat. So anyway, okay, let's get going. Raphael's here. Yeah, so I don't know if I told you my story. I had it all scheduled to take my cats to the vet on Tuesday. And it was I was dreading it, how much it was going to cost me. But anyway, I called the vet up Friday afternoon and said, "Look, I have no refills left on his insulin, and you won't give me any until you see him. I'm coming in Tuesday, but by the looks of the size of the bottle, and I've done it for so long, I ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna run out more. I'm gonna run out less. I measure it out either Sunday night or Monday morning." And this was Friday. They said, "Well, either bring him in tonight, or bring him in first thing in the morning, Saturday morning." And I thought, God damn, you still want to see, you ain't going to give me a prescription until you see him. I thought, damn. So anyway, I got him loaded I got up 7:30 this morning. So I get my ass out of bed, get him loaded into the crate. I managed to do that because I caught him when they weren't expecting it. Got him, started to carry it outside, the big one, the one who has diabetes. He's the real heavy one. And I'm walking out. I open the truck door to put the crate in. The crate drops. I mean, it falls apart. It hits the ground. The cat shoots off. Oh, I went, oh God! But I mean, just as he was diving down the carport, but I happened to grab him and hold on to him. He didn't like it. He tried to scratch the shit out of me because I had hold of him real tight, So I got hold of him. I threw him in the truck, shut the door, put the crate back together, then opened the door and shoved him back in it. So anyway, when I got to the vets, instead of carrying it by the handle, I carried it underneath because I didn't want it to fall apart again. Anyway, I get in the vets. The big guy's lost a little bit of weight. He only weighs, I think it was 21 pounds. And the other one weighs 20. They both lost weight, but he said they're doing fine. He said they're not, you're not starving them. He goes. So anyway, they do the everything else. They asked me, they said, how much do you give him again? I said 9 units in the morning and afternoon. That much for that size cat? I said, well, you're the ones that told me to do it. I said, look at it's in the records, I guess. I know it's been a couple of years since I've been here. He goes, oh, anyway, he says, let's do the blood work and give him a check out and give him his rabies shot. So they done all that. He goes, okay, it's good. We're going to have to send the blood work off. We'll call you Monday or Tuesday, and we'll let you know if you got to increase or decrease his insulin. I said, but the reason you guys got me in here this morning is because I have none left. I need a prescription. He goes, oh. He said, okay. He said, I'll write you one. He said, but he said, I'll call you in case he said, keep it as what it is now. But if it needs to change, I'll let you know. I said, that works for me, So anyway, so I get out of there. Well, I get out of that office to wait, whatever you call it, exam room. Of course, you can't get out in the exam room without going past the section that blocks the door where you got to pay. So it cost me $225 for 2 rabies shots and a blood test. And they're saying they were examined. I mean, like Peanut. I mean, they opened the crate. They managed to get him out of it because he's a scaredy for such a big cat. He's a scaredy cat. He really is. I had to pull. She had hold of him by the scruff of the neck, and he wouldn't come out. I grabbed hold of the crate and pulled it back before he slid out that way because he wasn't coming out to a stranger. Anyway, they took him off. By the time I got the crate back on the counter, they brought him back. Where in the hell was there an exam in that? All they done was took him out behind the door, gave him a shot, and I didn't even see him give him the shot, so he might not even got it. You know what I'm saying? And $225. I went, oh my God, which I can't afford. But anyway, that's what I've been doing today. So I've been crying.
That was the price for both cats?
Yeah.
Because here it's about $200 a year for each cat.
Yeah, well, they wanted to give both cats all these shots. I said no, just give them the rabies. I said I said because I said I'm on a fixed income. I can't afford it. I said if he needs something bad, I said he's gone this long without it. I'll bring him in next month. You know, I said I can't do it all in one go.
Yeah,
you know?
That's for 3 shots. It's for the worms, the feline leukemia, and the rabies. And I think it's like $175 each.
Yeah.
But in your mind, you think, times 3 cats, you think.
Yeah. Well, see that $225 is then I got a doctor's appointment on Monday, and that's the doctor who takes care of my feet and my nails and stuff for my diabetes. Make sure there's nothing wrong with my feet. And the reason he does that is because of my back, I can't bend over to check my own feet because it won't let me. Even with the new hips, I can get my right leg. That hip I can get the right leg onto my knee, but I can't bend over to see the bottom of it. I can feel it and stuff. But my left leg, I can't get it even up to my knee because that's because of my back on that side. That's where most of the pain is, like when I do it on the left side. Anyway, going into too much detail there, but he's classed as a specialist. And unfortunately, I got a great medical plan, except he's classed as a specialist and they charge me $40 a pop. So with the $225, now to $40, that's my whole month spending money gone, and I only just got paid. That's Rick's life. So, but I'll survive. The bright spot is I reloaded my first 30 rounds. 223. So, okay. Back to my topic of today. I was saying because I went grocery shopping Friday when I got paid. Went up to Walmart where I normally go because he's the cheapest. Believe it, even though there's other supermarkets in town, Walmart is still the cheapest. And I buy the same things month in, month out. I'm very predictable what I eat. I had my shopping list. Actually, my shopping list, I got to rewrite it. I've taken it with me about 3 months now. Every time I've gone, because I buy the same stuff, and I put a check mark on it the first time I use it. And I put a circle the second time I've used it, and this time I put a line through the circle, which I used last time, and the piece of paper's falling apart now. So that's what I'm saying. I buy the same thing, and my bill was at least $30 more. I worked it out. I think it was $31.56 more expensive this month than it was 2 months ago. So it's gone up about $15 on last month. So it's getting and that's why I was trying to find somebody to sell me some land or something, owner financing type deal. start growing some of my own food. That's what I was thinking. What I talked about before. Because if inflation's going up at that rate, my landlord hasn't put the rent up yet. the sewer hasn't, the water hasn't yet. My electric hasn't yet, but I don't know if they can put it up because I'm on a budget plan for the year, but I don't know if they can change that or not. I never read this. I got to look at the small print, So, anyway, if that stuff goes up anymore, I'm screwed. That's all just. Anyway, besides that, where I was going with my topic is, besides the inflation going up, like the media, is going that how things are so bad out there and everything else. In my little world, nothing's changed. Really, from on the day-to-day stuff, going down to the diner, talking with the guys, nothing's changed. It's still the same. Where
the price of gas has gone up, 40%.
Well, I'm calling that in the inflation. Yeah, I filled up Friday, cost me $72, and I got, I think, what did I get? 22. I think it was 22 gallons. I think. Can't remember. I know it was over 20 gallons because my tank was almost empty, and but it was $3.19 a gallon here. That's cheap. That was one of the cheaper ones around here. So I was classing that as as part of the inflation, gasoline. But it's just, I don't know. Go on.
I got $20 worth of gas from a broken gas pump last week, and once I finally got the thing to shut off because it pumped so slow, drove down the road and looked down and didn't even move my gas gauge, not one bit.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, but where I'm going is everyday life. You see media, you got the mainstream media trying to feed all this bullshit, how bad everything is and everything else. And looking at the news, I'm not saying that stuff's not happening in the country. The country is falling apart economically and everything else. The only reason COVID is resurfacing is because they're letting thousands upon thousands of people across the southern border who are infected, and we're the ones paying the price for it. But I understand that's happening. But here in my little world, it seems like, I know, we're in a cocoon. None of that. I don't notice any of that in my day-to-day life. Is that just me, or is that the way it really is out here in the Midwest? I don't know. I don't go. I'm living out in the middle of nowhere, and I don't. If I drive, like when I go to Jasper, that's the biggest town where the Walmart is and the vet's at and my doctor's at. Go in there. I went there Friday. I went there today, and I'll go there Monday for my doctor's appointment. Then I doubt I'll go there for the rest of the month. I'll just go down to the local dollar store, which is 4 miles down the road. I doubt if I have put. I doubt if I put 5,000 miles on my truck since I moved here 2.5 years ago. I don't go anywhere. So I guess in my little bubble here, life's just plodding on as normal. So what's it like for you over there, Jason?
Oh, life's normal, except the inflation, the prices of everything. Yeah, pretty much the same here too. But prices are going to get worse because all this trillions that they've spent, they're still spending it. Sooner or later, we'll have to start paying it back.
Oh yeah. Now, did you know in this bipartisan bill that they just passed through again this morning in Congress? What was it?
Passed, did it?
Well, it passed the next hurdle, which I think is trying to get past the filibuster or whatever. It still has to have the main vote on the floor, I believe. But where I'm going with this, in the 2,700 odd pages it is, way back there after page 2,000, somewhere between 2,000 and the end, there is the personal mileage. I'm trying to think the word they used, but basically they want to tax personal mileage, and how they're going to be running a test for 3 years, right? How do you tax personal mileage?
When you get your license plates every year, they'll
Or
inspect your car. You'll do a EPA inspection, and they'll write down the mileage.
But no, the easiest way of doing it is increase the gas tax. The gas tax hasn't gone up since 1990 something. I think.
No, Nate. I mean, Rick, this is a whole new tax. And it's a tax that's going to completely remove people from driving at some point. So, I mean, they're going to tax people from living out in the country, force them to live in the city in this mass transportation like they got in Europe. They're trying to equate the United States with all our land mass to Europe. And, it's just not the same.
Oh, I agree with you. I mean, when that happened, and didn't this stupid senile old son of a bitch that's in the White House, didn't he say, I'm not going to tax anybody who earns less than $400,000? Well, if you're increasing my gas tax, you're taxing me, you son of a bitch. What part of that doesn't he understand? Well, I guess he doesn't because he's senile.
Well, and every time you fill up your gas, every time you get an oil change, they ask for your mileage and it goes to Carfax. So there's some centralized database that's recording everybody's mileage.
What was that?
There's a database somewhere because, when I bought my last used car, I could sell exactly how many oil changes it had at 50 different oil change places, right? I mean, not 50, but 5. The dealer, Jiffy Lube, Express Lube, and one other, or 2 more. But all of them are reporting to somewhere, the insurance company database or somewhere, mileage of cars whenever they get an oil change. So there is a database out there that the government can tack into.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Well, they do it just like when they EPA test your vehicle or whatever. They'll just make every vehicle inspected every year for your registration, and what that effectively do is cost you thousands of dollars each year to renew your license plates just because.
Yeah, well, we don't have that testing here in Indiana.
But if they make this go through and make this happen, you will.
It could be. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. All I know is it's a personal mileage tax. Is basically what it amounts to. And and they keep what's really pissing me off. They keep stressing. Well, we got $550 billion. I think it's $1 billion for infrastructure, roads, bridges, rivers, shorelines, and everything else. But the bill is 1 point something trillion. So where in the fuck's the other half going? is what I want to know.
Oh yeah, it's just like the other one, full of pork or whatever they call
Oh
it.
yeah, oh
There's
yeah.
very little about infrastructure in it. Every president, even Trump, every one of them's come up with this infrastructure bill that's supposed to, rebuild America's roads and our bridges and make us the envy of the world. Every administration has pushed this bill,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's full of everything. There's something in there that's like $10 million for gun buyback.
Oh yeah.
Now you're not going to buy back every gun in America. First, you're not going to do a buyback, but I'm just, bear with me here. You're not going to buy back nothing with a measly $10 million. So that right away is, you could just look at that as that's $10 million in somebody's pocket or something for nothing,
Yeah. Oh, the New York Outcast has joined us, and he's sitting his fat ass on some roof. It looks like.
Yeah, taking a break, man. Taking a
Oh,
break.
okay. All right.
Stuck at work today, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
This side just about done. Just got to bring it up over the ridge, and then I can actually officially take a break. But so,
all right. All right.
figure I'd pop in.
I appreciate it. So anyway, my original question: anything changed in your world, guns and barbecue?
The thing I notice most is cost of meat is through the roof. Rack of ribs right now. I was looking at doing a rib cook this not this weekend, but the following weekend, and the venue really wants me to do it because they're having trouble getting vendors. But I was like, ribs are friggin' $6.50 a pound right now. I was like, they can't give me information on how many people to expect or anything else. I was like, I don't have any idea how many to get. And when you're talking $6.50 a pound, I can't afford that. Obviously, the gas prices are insane. Granted, I don't drive anymore, so I don't have to worry about that aspect as much.
Drives me crazy.
Yeah, but
so the only thing I really notice is meat prices right now.
yeah, but like the I don't know. It's I mean, inflation's the only thing that, as I said, that I've noticed in my little world. I mean, all this, the world. I mean, the United States is dying because of the, because of the COVID again. Hospitals are packed out. They're overflowing, which they're not. That's just a bunch of bullshit. And all this kind. I don't see any of that here. Any of that bullshit that the mainstream media is pumping out there. In my little world, none of that's happening.
Don't see it here either, Rick. I do see a bunch of people lined up for testing, though. Lady was just telling me on her way back here, she passed one, and it was a pretty packed area for lots of people getting tested, but hospitals seem to be still doing normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, New York got its own problems right now with your governor, so.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. I mean, I loved it when that reporter, said, well, shouldn't Biden be investigated for sexual misconduct?
Yeah.
But nobody else. She didn't answer the question. She kept going about something else, but nobody else brought it up. They left that guy out there to hang. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought was typical. But so, all right, sorry, I'm just messing around here with my my magazine here. So
that bill also contains something in there about making brand new cars come with breathalyzers before you can start them up.
Yeah, I heard that, but I don't think that part is in
You
there.
don't think,
I mean,
think
it
that'll
might
stick
be,
around?
you know.
That's something they throw in there to try to do a compromise on. We'll take
Yeah.
that away if you leave the other thing in or something.
Yeah. But
Well, yeah, think about how many senators and congressmen are like, "Whoa, I'm gonna have to blow into my car every time I drive it." No way, this isn't happening.
Oh, well,
yeah,
they
because
would be
I'm going to get
exempt for
arrested.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because my car won't start. You know, that's what they're saying.
I was thinking more so all the ones that are drinkers.
That's what I'm saying.
Wasn't even just for the fact that they wouldn't want to do it. It's just because they're drinkers and wouldn't be able to do it.
It'd be another way for them to add even more money to the price of a brand new car, too.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just seen something that it really relates to gun talk or what we're talking about right this second. There's 3 volcanoes erupting simultaneously in Alaska right now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That
Global
caused by
warming.
Is that caused by global warming?
No, they said that it's actually pretty mild eruptions at the moment, but they are keeping an eye on them. One's actually spewing lava, the other one's just ash and smoke. Or the other two are ash and smoke, I should say.
California's on fire as usual, right?
Oh yeah, I know it is.
Just like clockwork.
Yeah. All because they won't clean up the underbrush. You know, if they just cleaned up the underbrush a lot of times, you know, a lot of it wouldn't happen. You know, they're not doing any fire prevention measures in California because it's something to do with the environment or some shit.
Well, it seems funny. Every time they turn the power off, fires start seconds later.
You know, so I don't know. It's California's. I know it's part of the United States, but I just try not to think about California too much. You know.
Did you see all the new missile silos they made in China?
No.
Yeah, we satellite photoed like 250 nuclear missile silos that China's got going on brand new.
Yeah, along those same lines, China also has 20 ghost cities in western China, where if there was a nuclear attack, the survivors could all move into these cities that are built in, pretty much 99% empty.
Oh, talking about China, the Delta variant has reached China. And I can't remember what city it has. One of the cities has an international airport. And that's where it's coming from, off the airplanes. But where I'm going with this is they quarantined the whole city, and the Chinese government, you know, the people they put in charge of running the cities have disappeared for letting it happen. Nobody knows where they're at. You know?
No, I think they disappeared him. There's a difference. I think they, took him.
Well, the government took their own man and put him in a camp, more than likely.
Yeah, or executed him. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
like they do in Cuba to journalists.
In other world news, the Taliban took over the capital city there in Afghanistan and killed some high-ranking person. And Russia's flying fighter jets along the border to Uzbekistan, trying to just send a message, tell the Taliban to stay out of Uzbekistan.
yeah.
So it's a big mess.
Well, yeah. So I don't know, but California. I mean, as much as I love James Bond. I blame California not falling off the end of the earth because he stopped it. James Bond did. You know, with that what's her name? I can't remember her name now. That a black actress, you know, built like a brick shit house.
Oh, Holly Berry.
No, it wasn't her. No, it's before
Grace Jones.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was back in was that back in Roger Moore's time as
Yeah.
James Bond?
A View to a Kill.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. See, he shouldn't have stopped it. He should have let it go, and we wouldn't have the problem today.
Yeah, we would. They wouldn't go that far. They'd probably still end up within bridge building distance.
Yeah, knowing our luck, but you know, but I mean, that's what I'm saying is the way the mainstream media makes everything sound is. I know. I mean, if things keep up the way they are, I can see this country totally falling apart, and I imagine it is. But what I'm saying is, it seems to. It's not happening here. People, you know, I bring up a lot of these topics when I'm at breakfast. You know, a couple of the guys keep an eye on the news, right? But the majority of them, it's like I'm, you know, they never heard of it. They're sitting there, what? I thought, you know, oh God, you know, help us, you know.
You know, in China or in Chinese philosophy, they consider their government two styles. You know, like we consider it, you know, left and right, but they consider it chaos and order. And they think right now they're in a period of order, and for them to break down and, you know, gain their freedom, that would be chaos. And here it's just the opposite. Here the GOP is the party of order, the party of law, the party of, you know, property rights, the life of, you know, unborn children, and you know, the Democrats here are the party of chaos. You know, Black Lives Matters, letting people out of jail for COVID, you know, no bail sentences, you know, complete chaos in every corner. The border, another example of chaos. So that's kind of interesting when you think about the Chinese thinking communism is order and freedom is disorder. Where here, you know, our communists, our socialists are using disorder, using chaos to bring on communism.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we've always said. The Democrat Party is always accusing the Republicans of doing what they're actually doing. They're doing saying, I mean, look at him screaming at Trump. You know, how he's Hitler and how he's, you know, destroying the country. And we have a wannabe king in the White House right now. You know, and you know, a monarch wanted to rule us. And he even said it the other day. I got so mad. They asked me to quiet down, and my table did. I said I needed to quiet down because I was ranting when the other day and nobody stops him. That stupid senile son of a bitch said it again. We the people, the government, we the people. Somebody needs to tell the son of a bitch, no, you're not we the people. We are we the people. The ones who put you there. You know? But Biden believes we the people means the government. You know? So, oh God, don't get me started on it again. Who brought it up?
Yeah, and Sal Alinsky's book, the forward, he dedicates the book to Lucifer. I don't know. I mean, why on earth would anybody dedicate a book to Lucifer?
What was that?
Why would anybody dedicate a book? The Sal Alinsky, he wrote the book. What is it called? It's what all the Marxists use to do all their.
Oh, okay.
It's like the handbook. I'll think of it in a second. Oh, it's called Rules for Radicals.
Okay, yeah.
And it's dedicated, the forward, the first couple pages where you say who it's dedicated, like to your dad or your brother or your mom or whatever. He dedicated it to Lucifer.
That doesn't surprise me. That's the kind of people they are.
They are. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, but what I find amazing right now is the Democrats normally, no matter what's happening, will stick together. Right? They will hold the party line. But I mean, the Republicans don't. I mean, look at it now. I mean, they got 17 or 18 Republicans senators to move that odd trillion bill along this morning. We got fucking, and guess who was leading the pack? Mitch McConnell. He voted yes.
Yeah. So did Lindsey Graham, right?
I don't know if he did or not.
Oh no, not yet. But it was somebody else that was a top guy. Yeah, but Mitch McConnell, I saw a list of 17. Yeah, Mitch McConnell was in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Mitt Romney was in there.
Oh, yeah, it was in there. And what's her name from Alaska? What's her name from Maine? All those left-leaning Republicans, basically. So it's sad. It's sad. The old saying goes, we're being destroyed from within. United we stand, divided we fall, and that's what's going to happen. That is really what's going to happen. So, it's terrible. Anyway, what I want to know. Here we go. I think I brought this up on Wednesday, and I'm going to bring it up again today, in case there's anybody different in the chat or anybody thought about it. Is I mentioned this, like Sharon Watts, whatever, is that her name, from Every Town or whatever? She puts out a newsletter every week about anti-gun talking points, and she sends it to every newspaper, every television station, right? And this is what, if they're going to bring anything up, this is some points to talk about. Does it religiously? How come we don't, i.e. the 2A community? Because, and don't say, how do you know we're not? Because if we were, we would hear about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not being, more likely if we did, it might be thrown in the trash every time they receive it. Right? But one day, somebody might glance at it and realize, oh my God, they're right. I don't know. But I'm just curious. We're our own worst enemy, I think, sometimes. So, I don't know. It's, we also get nitpicky. We turn on ourselves too in the 2A community too. If somebody doesn't like something somebody's done, everybody attacks them. It's a shame, really. Well, because we should be all together. I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm just throwing stuff out there, hoping somebody come up with something, and nobody's talking. So,
well, this will hurt a lot of people's feelings, but if you want to look at it and be judgmental and just see on the surface what you're looking at, the 2A community is a lot of complaining, and the most action that's really taken is supporting lawyers with money to do anything. There's nobody that's in the 2A community, like in general, that you'd associate with getting up, going out the door, and really kicking some ass. I mean, really kicking some ass over an issue. You know what I mean? It's just we're a lot of talk and communication, but not that that's not important. Without keeping the message going, without keeping the conversation going, the fight's already over, you know? But you're right. There's too much infighting, too much bickering, disagreeing and stuff. And I don't know. It's kind of changed over the last couple of years because the politics has gotten so ridiculous. You know, so has the 2A community.
I mean, just in general, it seems like the GOP, they're pretty good about holding the line and, voting no, but they're not very good at getting together. When we had power, when Trump's, first 2 years in office, he was pretty much had everything, and they couldn't get one thing passed. I mean, you always had some malcontenter like McCain or somebody getting in the way. Every single time, but they never can get on the same page. And so, we just get drugged to the left, fight it back for, 4 years, get drugged to the left for 8 more years, and we get back in power when we kind of stay neutral for 4 years, 8 years. But every time, they go far to the left, and we just kind of, paddle around in circles.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you said, Trump had a lot of enemies in his own party. I mean, the House Speaker for the first 2 years was an enemy of his. That's why a lot didn't get done in the House, because he wouldn't bring it up to the floor. What was his name? Ryan? I think it was what his name was now.
Yeah, Paul Ryan.
What?
Paul Ryan.
Yeah, Paul Ryan. Yeah, he was the problem in the House. But then again, see, and I understand, and this is, I understand people's frustration, when they come out with that every time. We had the House, we had the Senate, we had the White House. Nothing got done. Well, if the House would have passed some of these bills that were sitting there, but the House Speaker wouldn't bring them up to the floor. If he had brought them up, and they would have passed because they had the majority, when it got to the Senate, right? Anything to do with law has to have a 60 vote. 60 votes or more. And because Trump was in the House, the Democrats voted against anything that Trump wanted to do. So even if they had national reciprocity in the Senate, past the House and in the Senate would not pass it because they couldn't get 60 votes. Because we only had a 52-54 majority. They couldn't get 6 Democrats to change sides.
But again,
people forget that.
Yeah, but again, why does it matter? Because you can still have the voting record. Everybody said we would have never got it, so we should have just never taken it to vote. Screw that. I want to know how exactly each one of those people would have voted, whether we had the votes or not.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. But unfortunately, the politics don't work that way,
But they do.
I agree with you. I mean, like this, like anything, whether it's going to pass or not, they should put it to the vote and record who voted for what. I mean, I think the people deserve that, to know what their people are voting. I mean, you can go online to certain websites and find out what your representative voted on in the House or the Senate. You have to do some research, but it would be nice to be able to, on the big things, be able to, know who was doing what. Kingpin says voting records don't matter when you know you're going to lose.
Yeah, you see how
I
they
disagree.
twist it. You see how they twist it, and they use that voting record to their advantage when they can, and when it hurts them, it's just ignored. For instance, or example, just say they name a bill that's called, like Save the Children Act or whatever, and that's just the name of it. But the real bill is full of terribleness that you don't ever want to happen. So, like, all the Republicans vote no on that. You know what I mean? They'd come back later and they'd be like, "Oh, well, he voted against the Save the Children Act. He's a bad person." You know what I mean?
All right,
That's all you hear. You don't know the
no,
fine
I
details
got
of that
I got to cut
bill.
you off, Jason, because last week was it last week or 2 weeks ago, I was making this point about Chipman. Take it to a vote. Don't worry about having another hearing or anything. Take it to a vote because they don't have the votes. And then when all these Democrats still decide to vote for him, then Republicans can turn around and say, "Hey, this Democrat voted for Chipman. He's a known racist." Yada yada yada. And I was being told up and down how that won't matter, doesn't matter, yada yada yada. So how can it work against us now if that's the case? Because it's not going to matter anyways. But my whole point with that was the people that are electing these people can go back and look. If there's a Republican that you want to vote for, and let's say that Save the Children Act was something that you really wanted, you checked out the bill, everything to you sounded great, and you're on the fence about this Republican or this Democrat or the independent, whoever the heck it is, you can go back and check how they voted on that and say, all right, this person's representing or voting in a way that is what I like. Well, that voting record counts now because you're making it count as a voter.
I understand what you're trying to say, but I mean, on, say, like you said, Save the Children or whatever, something like that, I'm gonna say, but unfortunately, if they had taken Chipman, they still might to the floor, right? I mean, he could have got. I mean, he could be confirmed, because they have the majority and they have the swing vote with the vice president. To make it 51-50. Because normally when it comes down to it, very rarely do the Democrats break party lines. The Republicans break party lines a hell of a lot more than the Democrats do.
Well, right now, it's confirmed there are at least 3 Democrats that will not vote for Chipman. Period. That's why they haven't brought it to a vote, because they don't have the votes from their own party.
Yeah, and all they're going to do is once they get this infrastructure bill done and the Senate finally takes their summer vacation, right? That Chipman thing's just going to disappear.
What about, you think, if you weren't on YouTube, okay, and you just worked 9 to 5 and you came home and you caught a little bit of hourly news every night before your primetime shows or whatever, do you think anybody in America besides us even know who David Chipman is?
I agree with you. You're right. They don't.
I mean, it's on YouTube and us and everything, but like, I don't think anybody else knows. This isn't covered like multiple times by like every news network, right?
Yeah.
Nobody
I mean,
even
you
knows.
think if this happened before cable TV,
Just like, I guarantee you,
24
everybody
hours,
across, I bet if you would take a poll or go out or try to research, I bet almost everybody in America doesn't know a single thing about this ATF write-in period, or bump stocks or pistol braces or any of it.
yeah.
They have no idea. They're working 9 to 5, enjoying their weekends, raising kids, getting kids ready for school. They don't know all the little things that's happening.
Yeah. I mean, they don't know what's happening. Going to Dick's Sporting Goods, buying their stuff for their kids to go to school with. You know, you know what I'm saying? Buying, and if they do happen to, if they do happen to do anything, with a firearm, but not 2A related or whatever, buying stuff from Remington. You know what I'm saying? Without even thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying the majority of people don't know anything.
No.
And then look at the hundreds of millions that live here that, like, maybe they're younger and they're having good times, starting their lives or whatever stuff. They just hate politics to begin with, or don't know anything about it. You know what I mean? So they're not watching the news, not one little bit. They're watching like the Hollywood news and the movie news or whatever. They're not caring about politics one bit.
No.
You know what I mean? They have no idea what's going on out there.
No.
So, like, if something goes wrong in Congress, we think we can hold it against them. The masses don't even know it happened.
No.
Yeah, more people watch TMZ and the other gossip channel than all the news combined.
Do what?
More people watch TMZ and what's the Hollywood Reporter or whatever that one's called than all the news channels combined.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh. And a lot of people that's got, like, well, you can understand, you got children or anything. There goes your TV when you get home from work. It's kids shows till bedtime. You know what I mean? A lot of people just don't get the news. Newspapers are a thing of the past. You know what I mean? And if you're a person that's not, in the right groove on Facebook or something, or not on YouTube or something like that, you just have no idea what's going on. Nothing.
No. I mean, really, in the ideal, really, when you think about it, we shouldn't. I mean, who put that in the chat here? Kingpin. No one should care who the head of the ATF is. It shouldn't be a big deal, because that person is meant to be nonpartisan. He might be a Democrat, but he's meant to vote, look at the Constitution when it comes to all this stuff that he does. I mean, be honest with you, before I got into guns 5 years ago, I couldn't tell you who was in charge of the ATF, what the ATF really done. I didn't understand the ins and outs of, the NFA. Is it the NFA, National Firearms Act, or and what's the other one in 1968? That one. I didn't really understand all that, and sometimes I still get confused. Well,
those laws in the 90s, basically, in a strange way, kept me from being a gun owner for 20 years. Because in the early 90s, I'd owned a few guns, and I had a 22, and I had a shotgun, deer gun, and the Clinton crime laws, NICS system, all that stuff started. I didn't know anything about it, not a clue. I did most of my life fishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I already had a hunting gun, go hunting with the old men once or twice a year. I just, firearms wasn't my thing, and I didn't know. So I forget what it was that I wanted, but I decided, like, yeah, I'd like to have a new gun. And I go to the gun store to go and everything, and they come up with this. Back then, it was like a 5-day waiting period automatically or something through the state and all this. I'm like, waiting period? What? No, I'm not. That just made me mad. I'm like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I wasn't a big 2A guy or anything at all, but I was just a U.S. citizen and had grown up my life not having the NICS system. And I'm like, no. And I just got mad, and basically my life went another direction, and I just forgot about firearms for 20 years.
I can understand that. I know.
they were successful, and their BS law like turned me away from exercising my rights for 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, even before I got into guns, even when I lived in Europe, and people would bring up the United States or whatever, and if something about guns ever got over on British TV, which was very rare, but then when I moved back here and stuff, I've always believed, even though I wasn't into guns, that you had a right to own them if you wanted them. I had no problem with it. The way I look at it, how can I put this without sounding, before I got into guns, I didn't care if you had guns, but just don't try to push them on me, because I wasn't into guns back then. You know what I'm saying? But if I understood the second it's your right, go for it. But that makes you happy. But now that I've been into guns and got more into it, I've always kept an eye on politics very loosely, but also you got to remember, I've only got really deep into it since I've become a gun owner. It seems to affect me more than I actually thought, what's going on in this damn country. And really what we as a country, as a people, we need to pay attention to besides what's going on at home. We need to pay attention to what our government's too big as it is. I think Kingpin said that in the chat there. Our government is way too big. It needs to be trimmed down. Anything the government got hold of, they have screwed it up. What's the saying go? The most dreaded thing to hear is, we're the government, we're here to help. But we should, as a country, we should also be paying attention to what's going on overseas. Because the Chinese are getting ready to make their move. They've been waiting for. I wouldn't be surprised they were behind. The most. The most, our president who had the most legitimate votes than anybody ever had. They had to be behind that, because they know he's a weak ass. He has no balls, right? I can guarantee you, I can almost guarantee it. I bet you before 2024 comes, he's going to make a move on the country China is going to make a move on Thailand, right? They've been rumbling about it for years, but they are going to make a move on time, and our guys are just going to roll over like Chamberlain did to Poland back in 1938. When Germany took Poland over. I'm just saying, history repeats itself.
Chamberlain signed over Czech Republic, not Poland.
Oh, was it Czech? I knew it was one of those.
You're not helping me out, Rick.
Yeah, the Polish got rolled on. That war was over in 3 days. They were fighting with horses and muzzle loaders.
Yeah. So everybody's worried about the Russians. The Russians ain't that powerful right now, but they're going to be, because of this stupid ass administration letting them have the pipeline again to supply all of Europe with their fuel. Well, a good chunk of it. Let's put it that way. And all Russia's got to switch the pipeline off, and they can cripple Europe in a heartbeat. You know, I think of all this kind of stuff. It might be worst case scenario, but you don't want to give them the chance to be able to pull it on us or on the, you know, but some of those European countries deserve it, in my opinion. But, you know,
over here showing the neighbor the issues with their roof. And because, of course, they asked. And they're Chinese. And Rick's over here like, the damn Chinese. I'm like, oh, God. YouTube, don't worry about it.
Oh, you got me on loudspeaker?
Yeah, it's all good, though.
They call it the China virus
too,
because it comes from China.
You know, it is. It seems though America seems to only worry about, you know, what happens here to a certain degree. They don't worry about what's happening overseas. And the people say, well, why should we? Comes back to another thing. It's always better to fight on somebody else's land than to fight on your own. You know?
Well, you see, like you started the show off on your topic, you know, all these things you see on TV, life hasn't changed where you're at too much.
No.
You see, they got us in a weakened state. Everybody right now is happy and enjoying the freedom from masks and things reopening. You know what I mean? That's most people's focus. Everybody's everyday life. Nobody's paying attention to what's happening in Washington, D.C. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on overseas.
You know, we're just a heartbeat from, you know, the stock market crashing, you know, 60%. We're, you know, a heartbeat away from grocery stores being barren for 3 months. I mean, there could be a lot of bad stuff happening. You know, all the supply chain could completely fail. You know, there could be a EMP or some kind of massive attack in the near future, and all of it could trigger one another. You know, a whole series of events. I mean, plus the Global Economic Union is planning on doing this global reset, which is in itself, you know, the U.S. dollar could be removed from the global standard. I mean, there's a whole bunch of scenarios out there that Biden's not prepared for.
No, he's not. He's not. Oh, Midnight Range in the chat. Was it? How do you put it? Fucking Rick just cost you a job, New York Outcast. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
The Midnight Range in the chat goes, fucking Rick just cost you a job, New York Outcast.
Yeah. No, actually they were cool. So I don't think it's a problem, thankfully. So
yeah.
They got some serious issues with their pipe boot going on. All of them. These damn hack developers, man. No ice and water on the edges.
Are you wearing any sort of safety gear? Or if you slip, you're hitting the dirt.
I'm hitting the dirt. Yeah, I don't. If I was working on on that church, I'd use safety gear. If OSHA was on the ground and all that stuff, but I'm not concerned with it nowadays. Or not on
Man,
something
you're getting off close to the edge.
Yeah. Well, the people that know roofs, I was gonna say they didn't put any ice and water down on any of these roofs. They got one nail in the pipe boot. Actually, there's two in that one. And they're just sticking up like crap jobs they did.
Yeah, when you were just standing on the edge there and I could see the yard, I started getting wheezy. Honestly, I don't like heights. I'm terrified.
It's not the heights aren't the problem. It's the sudden stop after the fall, you know. It's not even really the fall, it's just a sudden stop that gets you.
No, I mean, I don't like heights, but the strange thing is I don't mind flying. Because I don't know, it seems different flying than it does. I mean, like looking over the side there, that terrifies the shit out of me.
Lots of people don't like hopping on the ladder. That's like the biggie with most people. See that? And Marine flag over there.
Yeah.
And you guys are talking crap.
Oh hell,
Not all.
you're on a single story house.
No, 2-story.
Yeah, for anybody out there who's watching this, I forgot to bring it up. See my my AR-15 hanging on the wall there? The American rifle. You know, I ain't going to call it a sporting rifle. The American rifle right there. You know, like it's floating in space there because it's on the wall stand or from rnldisplays.com. And I mean, this is the it comes with a wall mount, which mine's on, or it comes with the desk or table top mount here. You know, made out of nice wood, handmade. And if you go to their website and use Rick's Life in the coupon code, you get 15% off. And I'm getting nothing out of it. I'm just saying because I just like the product. So I'll just mention that before I forget. So, all right. I was. Oh goddamn! It's over 4:15 already. Oh, 12 minutes past. Jesus, when you're having fun, doesn't time fly? Oh, now my computer's froze on me. Goddamn son of a bitch. What it is, my CPU maxes out at 100%. And the only way I can clear it, I mean, I could reboot the computer, but the easiest way to clear it is I do nothing works, but I do the old fashioned Alt Control Delete, and it brings up the task manager and brings up the blue screen, and I click task manager. Then for some reason it sort of does something to it and it unfreezes it and it starts working again. It's really weird. So but that's my computer issues. But anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, Echo's in here. I didn't get hold of you, Echo, but I did. I've loaded 30 rounds of 223. I figured it out. You know, I sort of figured it out, but on my own. I did get a little help from the morning chat, but there's anybody who's in the reload, and I do have a question. Do I need to crimp these? You know, because I have a crimp die on here, but it seems really loose. I mean, how tight am I meant to do a crimp?
Does the bullet have a groove in it?
Well, it has sort of like a ridge.
Yeah. Then you need to be crimping that.
Okay, but I mean the bullet. I mean, to try to get that bullet out. I mean, because I actually loaded one without putting the powder in it by mistake. You know, because I was talking at the time, and luckily it had no powder in it. I had to use the bullet puller, in other words, the hammer, right? I mean, and I had to really slam it quite a few times to get that bullet to pop out, and that wasn't crimped. Well, I'm not saying it wasn't crimped. It went through the crimp die, but when I pull the handle down and it goes up into the crimp die, comes back, it feels like there's no resistance whatsoever.
Yeah,
you know?
You might want to set that for a little bit of crimp. The crimp's going to keep that round from jumping or moving. You know what I mean? From recoil or handling it or anything like that. Because you really don't want to have much room. If it goes too long, it's not going to work in the magazine.
Yeah. Oh, Guns and Barbecue's back. Must have had a phone call.
Yeah. That rib event called me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told him to call me 2 weeks ago because I had a lot of questions, and the lady just him-hawed around. And now that they're having trouble getting vendors, she now decided to call me. I'm like, this is really last minute now.
They still want you to do it?
Oh yeah, say, they're pretty much begging me to, but there's a lot of issues with it. Where, I mean, it's at an amusement park that it has just been bought out of bankruptcy. It's been failing for years, which it's cool that the guy is trying to save it, but attendance this year has been very low. So they can't tell me what to expect for people coming into the park or anything. So I don't know how many racks of ribs to get or anything. The lady just now was like, oh, probably only like 30 or 40 racks total. I was like, okay, that tells me I'm only going to feed like 80 people, and you want me to be there for 3 days? That's not worth my time. Then on top of that, there's no guarantee that I'd even sell all those because, weather, things like it. It's a friggin' nightmare. They're not advertising it well. It just,
so you got to make a decision here, huh?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do.
Yeah. I mean, to do it for 3 days, you need quite a few ribs if the business is there.
Well, that's the thing.
That'd be a nice little money earner if it was done right.
Yeah, but the problem is the business isn't going to be there because they're not getting the attendance into the park. And like I told her, is like, I need to sell ribs $30 a rack. So, well, I don't think anybody's going to buy full racks of ribs. I was like, you'd be surprised at how many people go to these things and buy a full rack of ribs. I was like, even still, I was like, if they buy half a rack, then I'm selling it $15 a rack, or $15 for half a rack. She's like, well, can't you just sell them by the bone? I was like, yeah, you can sell them by the individual bone. I was like, but then I'm selling 3 bones for $10. I was like, either way you slice it, at the end of the day, I've got to get $30 a rack.
And you would get $30 a rack more than you would get $10 for 3 ribs.
Yeah,
to me that sounds expensive.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, it might be a job that you might want to turn down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shit, my lady would eat 2 racks. My goodness.
So, would you be willing to pay $30 a rack of ribs?
That's a little much.
It sounds like a little much, but if you go to any actual rib events, I mean, that's what they're going for right now is $30 to $35 a rack.
This St. Louis?
For my blood.
Yep, St. Louis cut normally.
And I'm a steak eater, and that's still too rich for my blood.
Yeah. What you call it? Echoes joined us. How you doing?
Pretty good, Mr. Rick. You were talking about crimping and for the AR-15, so I thought I'd just jump on and give you a little insight on it. The AR-15 is a very violent cycling weapon. The bolt carrier is moving at about 40 feet per second, which is quite a bit faster than most gas piston guns operate at. And so you'll notice with your brass, you're getting a lot of dings on it, and it beats it up. And you'll notice in time, within 5 reloadings, your rim, the head of the rim of the case will warp from it, extracting it before it's shrunk back down completely. It's just a violent system. So I always recommend a medium heavy crimp. And I recommend a taper crimp, not a roll crimp, because it's a semi-automatic. And if you roll crimp it, you're going to end up with some issues.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the Lee die set here.
Oh, okay. So you got a factory.
Yeah. Okay. But, and I set it up to what the instructions said. right?
Okay, you brought it down to the shell holder,
Yeah.
and then you indexed it a half turn more.
Yes.
Okay.
And when the bullet goes inside it,
right.
it feels like there's no resistance whatsoever.
Okay, but are you looking down through the top of it and watching to see how much the collet is actually closing on that bullet?
No.
Yeah, if you look through the top of that die right now in your press, you will
Yeah.
see 4 collet slashes in the
Yeah,
sign. Okay.
Yeah.
You see how much that opening is? You want to reduce that opening in that collet by a 50% on an AR-15 round. What that's going to do is that's going to ensure proper neck tension, because you're worrying about a couple of things with an AR. Number one, when you're firing it, you don't want bullets moving in the magazine forward in the magazine and causing it to hang the magazine up. And somewhere around half the magazine gets fired, and then you get the last half or quarter of the mag won't even come up out of the mag, and you just get a click. That's not good. And the other thing is it's violent when it's feeding, and that bullet comes in contact with the M4 feed ramps. And sometimes the M4 feed ramps won't be perfectly aligned with the barrel's feed ramps, and it can cause a slight grabbing of the bullet, kind of like a hard jam across the side of it, and that can help set it back. And if you start setting that bullet back during loading, you can start causing pressures to go up and blow yourself up. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, okay. I better double check all these then.
Yeah, just give them the once over. If what you've got there, I don't know what bullet you're using, but I thought you said you had 55 grains. So my guess is that's a full metal jacket with a boat till with a canalure, a crimp groove. Okay, so when you crimp that bullet, you want to be in the upper 90% of that, or 3/4 of the top of that canalure groove. That's where you want to make that crimp. So depending on how long your brass is, if you're dead on 1.750 trim length, you're not going to have an issue running them all the time right in the canalure. But if you've got the brass a little bit shorter, in like 148, 1748 or 1745, then you're going to be a little outside that, but you're still going to be okay. As long as you're not more than, I would say, 5 to 7 thousandths plus or minus on that canalure groove, as long as the end of your case is making good contact with it and crunching.
Okay. All right. I'm going to, I said, I've got, I said, I mean, that's my bullet. And when it goes up into the thing, it feels like there's no resistance whatsoever. Goes up, drops back down. It feels like it hasn't done anything to it.
Yeah, it's not going to give you much resistance to get that little collet to slide up in there and do its business. Yeah, it basically, you're probably used to pistol brass where you have to roll the crimp die down until you feel it hit the brass.
Yeah.
And then you know that you're starting to do your crimp there. And that's a roll crimp. That's taking a lot more force to do what it's doing than what that Lee factory crimp die is doing with the taper crimp that it's set up on. It's not using much force. It's such a small cartridge. You're not moving much brass, and there's just not much effort there to do it. So don't worry about it not feeling like it did it what it's doing. And now in your crimp groove, your canalure, is it got vertical lines in it? Like horizontal lines running all the way through in the copper.
Yeah.
Okay. What you want to see is just a slight malformation of those vertical lines. Just a tiny little thing where you can see that crimp squished it right along those lines, those vertical lines, and that's going to give you a visual IQ that the crimp was enough. But you don't want it
Okay.
heavily mashed. You just want to see that it crimped it there.
Yeah,
All right.
you can see all the little lines in the bullet, Rick. You like you said, work your way up slow on the crimp and just take a look at that and see when it actually gives a little crunch. They won't be straight lines anymore. They'll start out a little mushy. You'll notice it because there's like a couple hundred of them going around that bullet. You'll just notice it when all of them are kind of
Well,
not
I
straight
said I'm
anymore.
looking at them now. I'm pulling them back out of the magazine I stuck them in.
Right.
The crimps don't even look like they've been touched. You know what you're saying?
Okay.
So I might need to have to.
You want to, yeah, like he's saying, you want to go ahead and do, now that you've started from contact to a half turn, start doing it in eighth of an, like an eighth inch increments.
Yeah.
Until you actually get the crimp that you want. And then what I always do to find, when I was first starting out doing it, what I would do is I would load up a dummy round and put my crimp on there, and I would measure the case overall length. Then I would sit there, put it on the top of my AR-15 mag, an empty one. I'd put that dummy round in it, and I would load that weapon. And every time I would drop the hammer on it, or drop the bolt carrier on it, I would mark a notch on my paper, and I would pull it out and measure it. And if you can drop it on there 4 times without that bullet moving, you're good. If that bullet is moving, setting back, or moving forward, and once you got to remember this, once a bullet starts to move in a casing, it continues to move, because when it breaks that initial bond, it like, you'll notice, like when I will take an AR-15 bullet and I won't crimp it, and I'll put it in a magazine, and this is a dummy round, there's no powder or primer in it, and I start slamming that bullet home on the chamber, I will notice after about the third one that bullet starts growing, the overall length starts growing. And as soon as it starts to grow, the next drop of that round into the chamber, it grows by even more, because now it started the movement of the bullet, and it's kind of broken whatever little neck tension you had on it, and now it's moving. So that's another thing about under crimping sometimes. And you don't want to, here's the other part, you don't want to over crimp either, because that can cause pressure as well. So that's why you want to be right there where it just gives it that nice little mush on those vertical lines in the cantilure.
Okay. All right. That's what I'll work on next. All right. Thank you.
You have my number. Give me a call.
Yeah, I know I do. But I'm like a normal, don't like a normal guy. Don't like asking for help,
We all had to have a little help, when we were getting started doing it,
I know. All right. That's the only problem. Okay. I mean, I'll check that out. Do it the way you said and see. Now, if these don't look like it doesn't look like it's done anything to them. So can I just put them back in the dye and crimp them?
Oh yeah, you can just because you haven't done anything with it. But I would just for your own personal satisfaction, what you can do is set up one of those cases and just load your weapon on safety in a safe direction, with your muzzle in a self direction, and see how many times before the bullet starts moving forward, how many chambers it takes before the bullet starts moving forward. And as long as you're at 4 or 5 before it starts to jump, you're fine.
Okay. I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it.
No problem, brother.
All right. That's great. Anyway, guys, you got anything else? Oh, I got to do. I got to do my quiz for next Saturday, I believe. Is it for the 14th yet? All right. What I want to know is the Winchester 1886 model. I want to know, and actually making it real easy for you, Winchester 1886, number 1, who bought it, who to give it to, and what did it sell for recently in auction. When I say recently, the latest date I had, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago, but it might have been a couple of years longer than that. When I say that, that's the most recent date I've got for what it sold for. So, who owned it? Who to give it to? And what did it recently sell for in auction? So that's it. Email me at Rick's Life as I see it at gmail.com or spottedrick@gmail.com. Get it to me before noontime next Saturday. That's noontime. That's 12 Eastern time. The only time zone that matters. So, all right. Well, I got the cats looking at me, wanting feeding. They're not happy with me right now anyway because they got a shot each at the vets, and the other one got an extra needle because they done blood work. So they're not happy campers with me right now. You know, every time I walk towards them, they move off. I think they're afraid I'm going to pick them up and throw back in the crates or something. Cats are strange. Cats are very get stressed out real easy, especially Peanut. He's the orange looking one.
Yeah, they do, especially, after you take them to the vet like that. They don't like that whole experience of car ride in the cage.
Oh, yeah, they don't.
Them.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, like when I moved from Rhode Island to here, I mean, Peanut, the orange one, he didn't come out of it. I didn't see him come out of. He actually laid inside the crate. The door was open. I had it on the floor in the bedroom. He laid in there. I didn't ever see him get out unless he more like got out when I was asleep. But I didn't see him get out for a whole week. Because he was so stressed out about the move. But they're strange creatures that way. But anyway. Let's
Here you go, Rick. Look what just came in the mail for my cat.
Okay.
The catnip fish.
Yeah, I got to get some of that for mine.
Yep.
Yeah. I buy all kinds of stuff for these cats. They mess around with it for a few days and it's never touched again. So.
She carries these. She ate the last one and ripped it up.
Yeah. I did tell you, my cats love plain potato chips. And I just found out what both of them crave for is I dropped the pork scratching on the floor. My God, they fought over it. They loved it so much. So they like pork scratching now. They're strange. And I buy them I've been buying them the expensive treats. What are they called? Sensations or whatever they're called.
Temptation.
Temptation, yeah.
Temptation, that one where you see the cat jumping up to the roof. There's a guy's throwing it and he's catching it, whatever. Those ones, yeah, Temptations. Been buying those. They had run. Last month I'd run out. So I went down to the local Family Dollar and they didn't have any. They were totally out of stock. All they had were these Meow Mix for $1 a bag. So I bought a couple of bags of those. Said, well, oh my God, those cats love them. I finally got hold of some Temptations. They turn their nose up at them now. They want that cheap shit. So I tell you, I got some real strange cats.
Lucky you.
Yeah. So, anyway, Jason, you got anything to shout about or plugs?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a show Monday night, 8 o'clock. A Moan and Groan. Kind of planning a good show. Gonna have
Okay.
some good things to talk about. So, like to see everybody there, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for the invite.
All right. G23. Yes, I did get your entry. So, all right. Well and well armed. Any plugs or shout outs?
Yeah, cats are strange. I got the Temptations. I'll pour out, like, I put a little, spoonful for 3 cats and throw it on the floor right in where all 3 of them are standing, and they don't even react. They're like, well, what's he throwing at me? I mean, they're there for the snacks, but they don't go for it like dogs. They just sit there for about 3 seconds and not even kind of reacting, like, what's that stuff hitting my back? What's that stuff hitting my head? And then they go for it. But anyway, cats are strange.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to Zazzle to do a sign, a handicap parking sign, a wheeled and well armed sign, and went through, made it. Zazzle is sold out of them immediately, and so I uploaded some T-shirts. I think they're under review for content. I'm not even sure if they'll even publish them. So anyway, I'll let you know if they ever do make it out there alive. But so I'm trying to do some merch, if you want. So anyway, that's kind of it over here.
All right. That's good. New York Outcast. Oh, Midnight Range said if I hadn't have lost you some business, you could have afforded those ribs.
Now I sealed that deal. They want me to handle theirs too, so which kind of sucks because I got enough stuff to do. But figure at least let them know that they're gonna have issues. But no, I got nothing. Just thanks for having me. Sorry I couldn't communicate more. And thanks for joining us. Everybody eat a salad and have a great day.
All right. Actually, you know what I'm having? You ready for it? I know I got to get the English out of me, but I'm having. I'm not having a sandwich. I bought some rolls, and so I'm gonna make some cucumber sandwiches or rolls. Lightly buttered. Slice the cucumber thinly, lay it on there, salt and pepper, and that's it. Can't beat it. Now, I know I'm weird, but
kind of sounds like a wish sandwich.
Yeah.
You wish you had some meat?
No, I like cucumber sandwiches. So I know it's a leftover trait from living in England, I guess, all those years. So all right. Echo, you got any shout outs or plugs?
I just want to thank you for having me on. And if you have any issues or questions or anything, we can jump on a hangout, or you could just call me, ask me questions. I don't care. Love to help you out. You've always been a good friend of mine. And
all right, I appreciate it.
And I don't mind helping out a buddy. Get it down to where he can shoot his own 223. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to get you primers, but the FedEx little hub that's closest to my house wouldn't take them. So, and the post office won't take them. So I've got to go to the UPS hub and send them to you that way, because
FedEx won't do it.
Well, it's not the actual little it's one of the stores. It's not.
Okay, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. And the guy asked me, he's like, any gun stuff? And I was like, why would you ask that question? And then I looked down, I had a gun shirt on, and I go, yeah, actually it is. He's like, yeah, I'd appreciate it if you left my store. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, we don't support guns. And I was like, okay.
And this is in Florida?
This is in Florida.
Oh my God, you're getting invaded by New Yorkers.
Yeah,
and their
in
attitude.
California people too, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, listen to this. I talked to a guy that lives in California. He's a gun guy, a reloader. He says that you have to drive all the way to Arizona to be able to get a U-Haul because they're all gone, all up and down California and Los Angeles area. You can't get one. There's like a 7-month wait.
Why?
Because people are leaving California in groves because of the taxes and the moron governor and everything.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I mean, see, I got my camera on. I got my AR hanging on the wall. You can see my reloading press here.
Yeah.
You know, now I mean, this will definitely make me a domestic terrorist because there was an article a couple of weeks ago where they said when they went into some guy's house, he had 1,000 rounds and reloading equipment. Now where if you're a reloader, you're in trouble with the government.
Hey, I heard there's a segment from Fox News called The Five or something like that people sit around. One of them's that comes and goes is that Kennedy girl. I think it's her. No, not Kennedy. I don't know what Dagan something girl. She's real
I know the
southern.
one you're on about.
She's real southern.
Yeah.
And something came up on one of their things about somebody and had 1,000 bullets, 5,000 bullets in their house.
Yeah.
And she chimed in. She's like, "I'm from the South." She goes, "If you got 1,000 bullets in your house, there's something wrong with you because we're armed to the teeth. That ain't enough." We've had tons. She goes, "My fathers, my brothers, our neighbors said 1,000 is nothing. There's the problem. That's all you got."
Yeah. I know when I read this article and they said 1,000 rounds, I said, well, I got more than that just in 45 ACP, let alone all the other ones I got. You know? Oh, yeah, it's something else. Anyway, I'm going to wind this one up. We got through everybody, didn't we? We lost Guns and Barbecue. Maybe he had another phone call. Anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody in the chat for being here. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for sticking by on us. I don't know about you guys, but it's back up in the 90s again here. You know?
Yeah, it's been hot here today, but a rainstorm's been blowing through for about 2 hours.
Well, I hope we get a rainstorm here, but the forecast is hot and muggy for the next week. So, yeah, the cats are now scratching my leg. They want dinner.
It's the dog days of August, Rick.
Yeah. So I guess I guess hunger is overtaking them getting a shot today. So, all right. So I want to say thank you to everybody for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all on Wednesday at 7 p.m. So good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you very much for stopping by. Thanks, Rick.
Sabrina.
Take care.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah.